everybody to the Single and Stilettos show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette. And I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. And today on our show we have Tripp, and he is a dating coach at trippadvice.com. Welcome, Tripp, to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so Tripp today is going to tell us what attracts a guy. He works with a lot of men, so I know he has the inside scoop. And before we get started, though, Tripp, I would love to hear your story about how you got started in the dating industry, because I know everyone has a unique story.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard a lot of unique stories. For me, it all started probably around 4 or 5 years ago, where I was doing a lot of dating and having a lot of fun and meeting a lot of girls. And it was at the point where I was getting pretty good at it. You know, I was just going on a lot of dates, and a lot of men have trouble getting on dates, especially with women that they're attracted to.
Right.
And I was successfully doing that. And in the meantime, here I am giving my friend advice on dating, and he was running a few podcasts at the time on iTunes. And he said, "Hey, why don't we do a fun podcast together, and we'll give dating advice to guys and girls, and it would just be fun." I said, "Sure, why not? We'll put something together." So we put this podcast together. It was called Dudes Talking About Chicks, and you can actually still find it on iTunes. We don't do it anymore, but there's 40 episodes on there, and we gained a lot of traction from that one podcast. We got like 13,000 downloads within like a week.
Wow, a week?
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
Because iTunes put us up on their What's Hot list, so it got a lot of traction. So from this, we got a lot of downloads. People were emailing questions. People were calling in. We had this really good podcast going, and that's the big push that got me into the dating advice industry, because the advice was working out so well for so many guys that, and girls too. It actually wasn't really just for men. It was for women too. And everyone was getting great advice, and I thought, this is like my calling. This is what I need to do, because it was so successful. So
right.
I turned that podcast really into the business that I have today, which is Tripp Advice. And so now I'm giving dating advice and helping a lot of people. So it's been great.
That's awesome. So I know you work with a lot of men, and I know you work with some women, but I know you have the inside scoop on men. So let's just get into it. I would love to know, what are the top 5 things that attracts a guy to a woman?
Okay. Yes, I do hear this a lot. And, like I said, I'm working with men who are trying to find quality women. And one of the first questions I always ask them is, what kind of girl are you looking for?
Right.
And, so my answer to that is a combination of what I am always looking for in a woman, but what I hear all the time about what guys are looking for. And it really comes down to these few things. And I'm not going to censor myself. I'm just going to say it exactly how they're telling me, because I think women should know exactly, like, what are the words that are coming out of our mouths, okay?
Exactly.
So I'll start with the fun one. The first one is not crazy, okay?
I think that's reasonable.
Right? And it's funny. It's like, you can almost think about, like, well, why are guys saying this, right? And it's because they've dealt with crazy girls in the past, right? So
they've dated crazy.
I've dated crazy. I don't think I know any guy who hasn't dated crazy.
Right.
Either they've not dated at all, they're just not, they haven't done it yet, or they have and they've dated the crazy girls, right? So
let me ask you a question, because crazy to one person isn't crazy to another. So can you define crazy for our audience?
Sure. I think that it has to do with being, and this is kind of my other thing that men are looking for in women, but it's kind of connected. It's really about being emotionally stable. Okay, because the crazy stories that I hear, why women are crazy, is because they're being so over emotional that, and guys, while guys are emotional and men are emotional, we think a little bit more logically. We're like, if this, then that, and if that, then this, right? So when we don't understand that that's happening from a woman's perspective, we are like, oh, why are they mad at me? Why are they, blowing up at me? Why are they so emotional over this. Like, this could have been easily fixed if she just told me, and then I would have fixed it. Whatever it is,
Exactly.
right? So going back to the idea of being more emotionally stable, or
Okay.
I don't really love that term, but I guess more in control of your emotions, right? So we all know women have known to be dramatic, but I think one of my best tips for women is, when there is something going wrong in a relationship, this is really even in friendships too, anything
Right.
really. If there's anything going wrong, try to really, think about it first before you, explode all your thoughts and emotions on somebody. Really feel, what is it that's bothering you? What is it that's, causing you to be so upset? And try to think of a way that you can explain it to somebody before going crazy and just kind of letting it all out. Because I think and this is for guys too, I think we all tend to bottle up our emotions, and we don't like to communicate with each other, just for reasons of fear, being
Right.
scared of what may happen. And because of that fear, you bottle it up. And because you bottle it up, you end up exploding it one day. And what happens? The other person thinks you're nuts,
Right.
because they don't know what's been going on in our heads for so many weeks or months at a time.
And I think that this is what I find is that a lot of women tend to think men are mind readers, like he should know why I'm upset. And I always tell women, men aren't mind readers. You just have to tell them. And like you said, tell them in a calm and rational manner, not just explode and go, well, why don't you know that I'm upset or whatever it is.
Right, right, exactly. And I feel like if women were to do that, and men, I mean, there would be a lot of issues solved, a
Hmm.
lot of issues. So,
I have to ask you this question because I've heard this before. Are
sure.
men really uncomfortable when a woman starts to cry? Do they just kind of go, oh my God, I don't know what to do because she's crying?
I think it depends on the guy, and I think the guy who does feel uncomfortable,
Hmm.
I don't think they're maybe secure with their own emotions.
Good point.
I think that it might be something uh, internally that has to do with them,
Hmm.
almost like they're projecting.
Right.
If they can't handle another person crying. I mean, I know that when a girl cries in front of me, I get sad. I don't go, "Oh, what's going on? I don't know what to do." Right? I,
Right.
I I feel like emotional myself and sympathetic and empathetic. But I know, once we get to that a very emotional state where, okay, someone in front of me is crying, I
Hmm.
know how to control it, and I know how to handle that. And I think a lot of guys do too, but it all depends on, are they able to handle their own emotions,
Right.
you know?
Okay, so what's another thing that will attract a guy to a woman?
Independence.
Ah,
This is
okay.
another one that comes up a lot. A lot of guys tell me, and myself included, is they want a woman who's really independent. So, and this is happening now a lot lately, is women are really gaining their own independence in the workplace and other areas.
Right.
And I think that's a great thing, because a lot of men really like that, right? It's like this idea that she can take care of herself,
Hmm.
right? But at the same time, we still want her to kind of need us,
Right.
right? There's a very fine line. If you're too independent, then you're taking on too many masculine qualities, and then that won't attract the masculine energy that men have.
Right.
But it is really sexy when a woman can take care of something on her own, or she's just really in control
Right.
uh, of her life and what she's doing. I think a lot of guys end up dating immature girls, and they find that that immaturity really boils down to, they just they're not they can't take care of themselves,
Right.
and they need someone else to do it for them. It's like this daddy complex, right? This daddy issue. And that may be kind of cute in the moment when we first meet you, because it's like, oh, they really like us, they really need us. But it gets old after a while, and it starts to become more immature,
Right.
right? So there is that quality of independence that we really like in a woman.
Now, I find that the women that are the most independent are the ones that are really successful in their careers. They go after what they want. So I have to ask you a question about this. Is it a turnoff if a woman brings her work personality to the relationship?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
I would. My black and white answer is yes.
Yeah, that's what I find too.
Um, because again, we're more attracted to the feminine essence, right? That femininity about you,
Hmm.
and bringing too much of that workplace dominance into the relationship, it kind of turns us off a little bit because we
Right.
like to be in control. But once in a while, you throw that in there, maybe in the bedroom, right? Or maybe, when she's putting together something, some kind of date plan for us, every once in a while, it's
Hmm.
really nice.
Okay.
But too much is like, it's not, it doesn't really turn out to be too sexy.
Right. And I always tell women this is just leave your work personality at work because that's not what a guy's going to be attracted to. Okay, so give us another tip on what a
Okay.
guy is attracted to.
Another one, which is, I would say, maybe a cousin of independent,
Hmm.
so very closely related, but it's put together, right? So, and this is what I hear. This is, of course, there's probably better terms for it, but this is the words I hear. We
Okay.
want a woman who's put together,
Hmm.
right? And I'm always asking guys, like, what does that mean to you? Like, because that's a very broad statement.
Yeah.
What does put together mean? And what it means is you actually have a life of your own, right? So it's not about independence anymore, about taking control of your own life, but it's about you have your own passions, you have your own hobbies, right? You have all these other things that you like. It's like this personality. It's
Right.
like you have this put together, nice little packaged personality, right? And it's the things that you like and you love that we want to share with you, just like the things that we like.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of guys meet a lot of girls who are considered boring, right? People think a lot of like really pretty girls, very attractive girls are kind of boring because all they have going for them is their looks and they're not really put together in any other fashion. They don't really have anything else going for them. They don't
Right.
care about much. They don't pay attention to the world,
Hmm.
right? So that needs to be put together.
Hmm.
And that's really sexy for us to really, share all those fun things that we can do together. We can go on dates, we can take trips. And if you don't have a lot of, fun things and everything to you is maybe just work or maybe it's just family, right? But it's that well-balanced proportion of your personality that really attracts us. And it's the same thing for women, I know too.
Right. No, definitely. I think that's really, really important. Okay, so what's another tip you can give us?
Okay, so here's one more on the physical side, right? So
Hmm.
we all know men are very visual creatures. The reason why we're going to go up and approach you, the
Hmm.
reason why we want to talk to you is at first because we're finding ourselves attracted to you, right? There's something about you physically that we're attracted to.
Right.
When I'm having my guys, go out to the bars or go out during the day to meet girls, no one ever says, that girl looks like she's funny. I'm going to go talk to her, right? It's like, whoa, that girl's hot. I want to talk to her and
Right.
see if there's more to her,
Hmm.
right? So all I can say is this. Every guy's into something different,
Hmm.
right? Blondes, brunettes, some guys like boobs, some guys like butts. So there's no one way for you to look. But all I can say is try your best to stay in shape, right? So just try your best to be eating healthy and taking care of your body. And I tell this to the guys too. If you're going to be, a whole mess and you don't take care of yourself, not only is this going to be bad for you and health wise in the long run, but it's going to be much more difficult for you to find a partner that you're going to be attracted to as well.
Right.
So take the time to take care of your body. Go on a healthy diet that's going to make you not just look good, but feel good.
Right.
Because when you do look good, you're going to get that confidence and it's going to be easier to meet men, not because you look good, but because you're ready for it and your brain is functioning well because you're eating the proper foods and you just feel good and you're radiating that energy. And we definitely, as men, we pick that up.
Right. Exactly. And I completely agree. Also when you work out, you just feel stronger on the inside and
Yeah,
outside. And it brings on, like you said, that confidence. And I find that a lot of men are attracted to that confidence too, of
right,
being self assured and knowing what your self worth is.
right,
And
exactly.
I will add on the other point that you said about being in a bar, and if a guy doesn't go, oh, she looks funny, let me go talk to her. It's true. And I tell women this all the time. A guy will never go, hmm, she looks okay, but let me go find out if I'm really attracted to her. A guy doesn't do that. A woman does. A woman will actually do that. You know, she wants to get to know the guy to see if she's really attracted to him, but men don't do that. So I always tell women to look your best when you're out.
Absolutely. It doesn't hurt to really accentuate your best features and whatever they are. You know,
Exactly.
it's like the mating call. We're animals. This is what animals do. They do the mating dance, and a lot of that dance is through you know, what you look like in your physical side.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, don't be afraid. Go for it.
Exactly. Okay, so what's your last tip for us about what attracts a guy?
Okay, so the last one, also closely related, but it's a little bit different, is it is confidence, right? So while everything that I just talked about has to do with confidence and can add to it, but confidence is really this separate entity. And I find that a lot of guys, they tell me they want a confident woman because they've been with a lot of women in the past that have very low self-esteem. They don't feel good about themselves, right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter who you are. If you're surrounding yourself by people who feel less confident, who don't like themselves, right, this is going to put this damper on you, and you're going to feel really bad about it. Now, it's okay if every once in a while you get down on yourself. That's normal. We're human, and that happens. But if you're constantly being so hard on yourself and you're not confident and you can't walk through this world saying, hey, you know, I can do this, and, you know, I'm meant to be here to you know, fulfill my destiny and do whatever it takes to have a great life. If you don't have those qualities, it's going to be very difficult for us to be attracted to you.
Right.
And again, that really goes for men too, because I know that confidence is probably one of the biggest factors that attribute to women being attracted to men.
Exactly.
Right? But it's the same thing with women. We want to see that confidence. It's really turns us on. You know, when we see a girl maybe, you know, out and about, you know, what's that beautiful strut that we see? We see a woman who's, you know, got her back arched and she's walking and she's got those long legs and she's just like, you know, going about her day like she really is trying to get somewhere, and it's sexy, right? But those girls who are walking around and their shoulders are slumped over and they kind of look upset, and, you know, they're holding their Diet Coke and just kind of sipping it like they just don't care about anything, and you know, we see that and we're already turned off. And a lot of guys don't realize this, but it's because that look is not confident, right? And it's confidence that really attracts us. So it's very important for women to start to feel confident.
And I want to add something else, because that's in the beginning stages of when a guy first sees a woman. But even like after a guy starts dating a woman, she can be confident. But then if she starts to become insecure about things, and I'll give a prime example that I hear that women do all the time, is they start to ask a guy that they're dating, does this make me look fat? Or do these jeans make me look fat? It's like the worst question you can ask a guy. It's like a no-win situation for the guy, and it also shows your insecurity about your body, right?
Right, exactly. Every once in a while you do that, fine. But if this is something that's going to happen constantly, it's like, enough already. This is ridiculous. Like, feel good about yourself. Yes, you look amazing.
Right.
You know, you don't need me to tell you all the time how amazing you look.
Right.
Just come out the door with your dress on and say, you know, I feel good. Let's go.
Exactly.
I'm ready. You know?
And if you're asking that question too much, I will add, then it's time to start working out some more, right?
Yes, absolutely. Get your butt to the gym.
Exactly. And then you won't have to ask that question. So Tripp, can you tell us, because I get this question all the time, is why do men not approach women at bars? Women tell me all the time, they go to bars, they think they look great, and they just never get approached.
Yeah, this is an issue I run into a lot. This is basically the main reason why men sign up to work with me. And I would say, well, there's two reasons. And there's one really big one. It's one that comes up all the time. And I talk about it a lot with my students and try to help them through this. And they're afraid of rejection, right? So these guys, they don't want to get rejected, right? It feels bad. It doesn't feel good. And what we do as humans is we try to stay away from anything that's going to make us not feel good, right? So they're scared that they're going to get rejected, and it's going to be a blow to their ego, and it's going to remind them, hey, I'm not good enough. right? So no one wants to feel that way. So they decide they don't want to be vulnerable and they don't want to put themselves out there and they don't want to try because it's scary, right? It's scary. They don't know what's going to happen and getting rejected feels like crap. So that's the main reason. That's why most guys tell me, that they don't want to talk to girls. I mean, they're also shy, but I've realized that it's not just about being shy. It's a lot deeper than that, right? The reason why they're shy is because they don't want to get rejected and they don't want to deal with those emotions, right?
Right.
So that's the biggest reason. The second is they just don't really know what to do.
Okay.
Right? So they don't want to approach because they don't know how to approach. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to hold a conversation. They don't know how to hold a conversation that's going to make a girl interested in them. And they don't know how to flirt. So being unaware of this, because we don't really learn these things, our dads don't really teach us these things, and there's not a class on this when you go to college or high school. So this is stuff we just kind of like learn through, seeing other people or, whatever it is. But a lot of guys, they don't know how to do it, and they want to learn how to do it, and they want to get better at it so they can start getting women that they're really attracted to and the quality women. But most guys, they're just unaware. So therefore, they never go up and they never try to approach.
So what can a woman do if she sees a guy at a bar and she really wants him to come and talk to her? What can she do to help him come over and talk to her?
Yeah, there's one big sign, and I tell this to my guys all the time. I say, you got to look out for this because this is going to make talking to women in social settings so much easier.
Right.
And I'll just give my advice to the women. When you see a guy that you're interested in, the best thing you can do is make eye contact, right? Most men know that this is a sign. And if they don't, send those guys to me. But most guys understand this is a sign that the girl is interested. But it's more than just making eye contact. You have to make eye contact, hold the eye contact. Don't just look for a second and look away, but hold it just for like maybe 3 more seconds. That's it.
Okay.
And give a really nice smile.
It's funny. I tell that to my female clients all the time, and I know they've heard it before, but I can't tell you how many women just don't do it. And one of the reasons I will actually tell you why a lot of women tell me they won't do it is, believe it or not, is they're really shy, and they feel that if they give that sign to the guy and then he doesn't approach, they feel like it's rejection on their part. So it's very interesting. You have this game going on. Everybody's afraid of rejection, and then nobody meets anybody.
Right, exactly. Well, and I would tell them this. A lot of guys, they don't really always pick up on that. Right. And I would never, ever say that's a rejection right off the bat. If that guy just maybe has no idea. He might not even seen you. Maybe like you make eye contact, but he's really not even all there and paying attention for whatever reason.
Right.
But another thing you could do is I really encourage women, to actually go up and talk to a guy. It's okay to actually go up and physically approach. It's going to be a little bit better because no matter what, guys don't get approached. So they're going to be easy to take you in and start talking to you. Well, girls get approached all the time. So they've been known to reject guys in 2 seconds. Like, no, I have a boyfriend, don't talk to me. Right? Where a guy would be like, oh my gosh, a girl's approaching me. And they're there. They'll be there to listen and hear what you have to say.
Right.
So actually going up and approaching is really a good method if you're not too shy.
So now, if a woman does approach a guy, because I know all the women out there are wondering, but does it make me seem like I'm desperate or being too forward to the guy?
It can if you say the wrong thing, absolutely.
Okay, so what should a woman say that won't make her seem desperate?
I think the best thing is going up to a guy and just giving him a compliment on something he's wearing, right? Okay. So it starts off conversation, right? It gets things going, and it's telling the guy, okay, I'm here to flirt with you, right? Not beating around the bush. But you don't have to be like, oh my God, that shirt on you is so sexy, right?
Because then it comes across as, that's a little weird.
Right, exactly. Like that might be too much.
Right.
And the guy might be kind of thrown off. But if, she was to say something like, hey, that's a really cool shirt, or like, I really like that hat. Just something like very casual, a very casual compliment. Even like commenting on the shoes, like, hey, those really cool shoes. Not a lot of guys know how to dress.
Right.
And just saying it with a very kind of casual tone, not walking away after you say it, but just saying that and kind of staying there. That's a really good way to get in conversation. It makes it easy. And, it will let the guy know, like, oh, I think this girl digs me. Right?
Yeah.
I think this girl's into me. So it gets the point across without being too strong.
And I have to add to that, because I actually discovered that trick works by accident. It's really funny because I tend to do that just naturally with people. When I like something that someone's wearing and I notice men's shoes, I'll tell any guy, even if I'm not interested, oh, I like your shoes. And it's funny, I started to notice their reactions to me, or if I see a guy with a really nice tie, because I really like different ties, and I'll compliment a guy on that, and I always notice how they react, and it's always in a positive manner. Men love to be complimented just as much as women. Women always think that we only like to be men love it.
Right. But exactly true.
But it's like you said, you have to just do it in the right way. You can't do it in a kind of creepy way where it's like too much, because then the guy's kind of like, why is she so into me?
Right, possibly. I mean, or it can go the other way, and the guy can be like, nice, this girl's into me. But, of course, I always tell my guys that you want to come in with the smoothest approach, just in case.
Right. Well, gosh, these have been some great dating tips, and I want to ask you one last question. Sure. What is your best dating tip for women?
Ooh, my best dating tip. I think it would have to be, the fact that dating can be very stressful, and a lot of women and a lot of men don't necessarily like it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that, people who aren't good at dating, they don't like it. They already associate it, with a lot of negativeness, right? Negative energy. And I think the biggest tip I can give to women is it's really important to just be present and be in the moment as much as you can. And enjoy the process, Don't put too much stress on yourself. Don't feel like, every time you get a date with the guy that this could be the one. Right. Slow down a little bit. Enjoy the dinner you're having. Enjoy meeting a new person. Enjoy hearing the experiences of someone else and getting a look into another person's world, and just, having a good time right there and then. I think a lot of women put pressure on themselves when they get to a certain age to get married and to commit so fast, and that's fine if that's what you want, but at the least, be happy with the experiences that are going on day to day and moment to moment, and really try to enjoy the process, and just don't put too much emphasis on the future instead of, because that's going to cause you not to have fun right there and then. And dating should be fun, and it should be a good time, and that's what I'm always trying to teach my guys as well. Have fun with it. It's not about getting rejected. It's about meeting new people and putting yourself out there and seeing what can happen. So.
I completely agree. And I tell that to my female clients all the time, because too many women will go out on a first date and look for everything in their checklist. And then they're thinking, oh, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, this isn't the type of guy I can marry, so I don't want to go out on a second date. Just go out and have fun. You're just trying to get to know somebody. It's just, God, if everybody did that, I think more people would, be in relationships. So
I agree. Exactly.
So how can people find you?
Well, they can go to my website. It's trippadvice.com, and Tripp is with 2 P's, trippadvice.com. And you can go there and you can sign up for my newsletter, and it's right at the top, and you even get a little free ebook called 10 Simple and Unknown Dating Tips to Increase Attraction. So I encourage anyone who's watching this is to go check it out and opt into the list, because I send out a lot of great emails and a lot of great information for men and dating tips for men. And a lot of women actually like to sign up for it, and they like to get on that list because they get these emails that are giving the guys all these dating tips. And a lot of women want to kind of know what's going on and what kind of issues men have and what they're looking for. So it's a great way to see the other side of things. So you can check me out there.
So women could get the inside scoop on what men are really learning out there on how to date right and meet the right woman, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Tripp, for being on the show. And if you're watching our video, if you would prefer to listen on our podcast, you can go to singleonstilettos.com and download our podcast. Or if you're listening on our podcast and you prefer to watch a video, you can go to singleonstilettos.com. And if you would like to get our free report on the top 10 secrets on what attracts a man and what turns him off, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleonstilettos.com.